A scholar in Israel says to me, well, I would need high-resolution TIFFs in order to digitize this. I said, I have high-resolution TIFFs. They're right here on this flash drive. And then the scholar responds and says, that's New Testament stuff, isn't it? We don't really care about that. And I thought, wow. For years I've had this sneaking suspicion, this theory, that the reason people aren't studying these texts is because the Jews who are experts in Hebrew don't care about them, and the Christians who are experts in Greek are, first of all, invested in the Greek, and they don't have the Hebrew expertise. Yeah. And it was confirmed in some way by this scholar saying to me, oh, that's just New Testament stuff. Now, there was one document that was not online. I want to show this to people. This has never been publicly shown before.
Okay.
This document, this is a brand new discovery that turns out, and I've known about this for years, I just didn't have access to it. It turns out there's a manuscript in Dublin, at a library in Dublin, and here we are about to see it. So this is it. And this is, now Sloan 273, Michael, is chapter 1, and it breaks off in the middle of chapter 2 of the book of Revelation. The rest of the book of Revelation continues here in chapter 2 in this manuscript from Dublin, in Hebrew. So no one's ever seen this.
No one's ever seen this before. I haven't even seen this before.
This is a Hebrew manuscript of the book. Now, is this a Hebrew original or translated from Greek? I don't know. I haven't even had time to study it. I'm looking for my 1,000 instances of Yehovah. But what's really interesting about this is I took this to a scholar in Israel who is probably the top expert in the world about Hebrew manuscripts in general. And I said, there's no record of this manuscript in any of the databases in Israel. I have on this flash drive photos. I want to give this to you. I had to contact the library in Dublin and say to them, hey, I'm looking for this manuscript. They said, well, that doesn't exist. Oh, you mean this other manuscript? In other words, I had the wrong reference number. And so they discovered that through great research, these wonderful people in Dublin found the correct reference number, and then were able to send me photographs. I bought these photographs from them, and I took them to this scholar in Israel and said, would you please catalog this so that everybody else knows about this, right? I don't want to keep it as a secret. Mm-hmm. And this hasn't been digitized. It's not online. People who are seeing this on their television screens are seeing it for the first time. This scholar in Israel says to me, well, I would need high-resolution TIFFs in order to digitize this. I said, I have high-resolution TIFFs. They're right here on this flash drive. And then the scholar responds and says, that's New Testament stuff, isn't it? We don't really care about that. And I thought, wow. For years I've had this sneaking suspicion, this theory, that the reason people aren't studying these texts is because the Jews who are experts in Hebrew don't care about them, and the Christians who are experts in Greek are, first of all, invested in the Greek, and they don't have the Hebrew expertise. Yeah. And it was confirmed in some way by this scholar saying to me, oh, that's just New Testament stuff. That's just Christian stuff. What do you mean this is a Hebrew document that nobody else knows about? I want the world to know about it. And the way to get it known about is to put it in the catalog so any scholar can find this. And they wouldn't do it. And so it's not just a theory anymore. That these things, we call this in Hebrew, it's fallen between the chairs, or in English you say it falls between the cracks, right? It's missed because it's like, in a sense, interdisciplinary, right? You've got the Hebrew experts and the New Testament experts, and they're generally different people and have different interests, right? They're not interested in the same thing. But this should be important. And look, there's one manuscript that I got from the Cambridge University. This was a manuscript that was very difficult to get. It wasn't digitized. They wanted $750 for the photos. I paid it. Get the photos, and I, within an hour of studying it, could tell you 100%, number one, this is a manuscript translated from Greek, and number two, it really has no value as a Hebrew text, because it just was a straight translation from Greek. It's not like these other things we're talking about. So did I waste $750? Absolutely not. Now I know that manuscript is a dead end, and I also have something to compare these other manuscripts to. I know what a Greek translation sounds like now, a pretty bad Greek translation, right? So it was a very important research. I mean, this is what happens in research. Sometimes you hit a dead end, but that dead end is important too.
Even the dead ends are expensive.
Well, they're expensive too. Well, it kind of reminds me in the Siloam tunnel, in Hezekiah's tunnel in Jerusalem. It's an ancient water tunnel that they dug in order to bring water into the city of Jerusalem during the Assyrian siege. And it's mentioned in Isaiah and it's mentioned in Kings. And what they did is they dug from two different ends, and it's S-shaped, and they met in the middle. Well, what you see as you're walking through this tunnel are what the archaeologists call false starts. So they dig, and then they're going in this direction. They realize, uh-oh, that's the wrong direction. So they go back, and they're digging through solid limestone with iron axes and adze, and then they, so it's kind of like a false start, and you realize, okay, that's not the direction we need to go. Let's back up a little bit and go in the other direction, right? And there's a lot of false starts. But without those false starts, they would have never found their way. So what I've come to the conclusion after years of study is, for the answer to finding the answer as no is not a bad thing. I don't need the answer always to be yes. I don't need every manuscript to be the most important manuscript in the world. I just want to know the truth. And whatever that truth is, I know it will set me free. It will set me free. Can I get an amen, Michael?
Amen.
The truth will set you free.
Shalom, Torah fans. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend. Tap the subscription button and the bell icon. And I promise to update weekly with in-depth biblical research. Be sure to download the new michaelrood.tv app for both mobile and home devices for even more commercial-free content.